What's up guys, welcome back to Half Man Half Tech. I'm your host Ben, and this is what's currently happening to my iPhone 6s running iOS 14. There's quite a number of issues that I'm facing, and I actually installed iOS 14 on this iPhone 6s from the moment it came out. It came out on the 7th of July 2020, and so ever since then I've had it on my iPhone 6s. It's been about a week now, so I'm in a better position to tell you how my device is performing, and this is like some sort of small follow-up video, and hopefully at the end of this video you'll be able to make up your mind whether to update or not. So if it's your first time watching on this particular channel, make sure you hit subscribe down below so that you don't miss out on any of the latest tech content for you. So currently on my iPhone 6s running iOS 14, these are the stats that I have on the iPhone 6s. So if we go into settings here and then go to the general and then go to the about section here, you can see that I have software version as iOS 14, and the build number that came with beta 2 is 18A5319i. So as you can see, this build number has an I at the end, and usually what Apple does when it's a beta version, they sort of assign a letter at the end to indicate how stable the version or the beta is according to the stability scale. So A is the most stable beta version you ever get on any beta, and sometimes we actually don't even get to the A. You know, once we start seeing letters like C or B, we know that the official version is actually close. So this one, as you can see from here, it's quite far off. It has an I at the end, and so it comes with quite a number of issues and bugs, and I'm going to be highlighting some of those issues that I myself have been facing on my iPhone 6s running iOS 14 beta 2. And so hopefully when the next beta version comes out, it will be a little bit more stable and have a better letter at the end. If we scroll down a little bit, you can see that the modem firmware version that we have with beta 2 is 7.70.00, so that was updated from iOS 13.5. and if you are having any issues when it comes to cell, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth or AirDrop or any form of wireless connection, those issues should be resolved with this update. And if we go back, let's just go back to the about section and go to the storage available. You can see that I have 51.8 gigs available, and if we go to the iPhone storage section here, just to see how much storage is being taken up by system, it's all the way down, and as you can see, system is taking about 6.78 gig. Now when this update came in, it was around 3.8 gigs, and so as you can see, it is a bit larger compared to the size that it came in, but usually that's the case. It usually overrides some of the files that the previous system has, and once it overrides all its files, it takes about a day or 3 cycles just to properly write all the files into the device. So this is relatively normal. Some people are actually reporting that the system is taking up all the storage in their device, and they delete all files and system continues to remain big. So if that is happening, it's a non-issue, and it's a bug that we expect beta 3 to fix when it comes out very soon. So now let's look at some of the bugs that many people are actually reporting and that I'm experiencing on my iPhone 6s here running iOS 14 developer beta 2. So the first bug, I'm sure you can see there, you can see that this is the weather widget that I have here, and it says Cupertino, and that's not my current location. My current location is actually this one, and so I've added it in the weather settings, but however, the moment I close or go out this app, you can see that it displays Cupertino. So that is an issue that apparently isn't only affecting the iPhone 6s, but it's affecting all iPhones from different ranges. And just be aware that if you update your iPhone to beta 2, this is a bug that you might experience as you use the update. The next bug that I'm experiencing on my iPhone 6s has to do with the call app. So if you are dialing an emergency call using beta 2, some people are actually experiencing issues when it comes to calling 911 or having to call an emergency call when the device is locked or unlocked. So I don't want to try this because 911 will come even if it's a fake call. So this is a bug that many people are experiencing, and apparently it's still there on beta 2. So that's something that some people are experiencing, and just look out for this in case you update to beta 2 and get into an emergency and you are unable to call. So that's another known bug. And the next bug that people are experiencing, that I'm experiencing myself, it actually went away on its own. So when I open multitasks, right, and then I double tap the home button, sometimes it experiences screen freezes. So I did manage to get a video when it was experiencing seizures or some sort of screen freezes, and I had opened Safari and the weather widgets side by side, and when I would multitask between the two apps, that's when you would see this sort of drag or delay, and it would leave marks on the screen as if the screen refresh rate has dropped. But the phone actually forcefully rebooted itself. I didn't restart the phone, otherwise I would have been able to show you fully how my screen freezes are. But it's not something that is dire like what we had on beta 1. This is a bit manageable, and you can easily work around by either closing all applications or restarting your device manually if the device doesn't restart itself like it did for me. Now let's look at how my battery performance has been for the last week that I've had this version on. So if we go to the battery section here, you can see that my battery health remains at 80%. And now let's look at the screen on time that I've had in the last 10 days as I have been on beta 2. So let's say, for example, this day here, if we click on Monday, you can see that I had about 1 hour 34 minutes screen on time and 3 minutes screen off time, and I basically used like 15 or 20%, and that is normal. And then if you look at my overall usage, you can see that I actually haven't been using this device so much. And if you look at this day here, perhaps you can see that I had about 10 hours 20 minutes screen on time, and I had about 5 minutes screen off time, and that is basically using around 80% or 90% of the charge. So as you can see, when it comes to battery performance, actually I'm happy with what I've been getting on iOS 14 beta 2. This is the developer beta 2, and my screen on time has been quite okay. I haven't been using this device heavily, so as you can see, some days it's good. Like here I got 10 hours 21 minutes screen on time with just using like 90 or 85% of the charge, and then the day before I got about 4 hours 31 minutes with just using the same charge. So sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, so it all depends on how you use the device. And I guess sometimes on some days the battery performance is better than other days, but as you can see, for me it's kind of okay. For a beta that has an I at the end, I'm happy with the battery performance that I'm getting. Now I did run Geekbench scores just to see how my performance is doing on this update. So let's open Geekbench 5 scores that I have here. If we go to the history section here and see the CPU section, how this is the records of my CPU performance that I have on my iPhone 6s, and I did run Geekbench scores, and this is the result that I have on beta 2. For single core I have 549, and for multi-core I have 1019. And if we compare with what I had initially when I installed this update, you can see that it's basically almost the same. So no change from beta 2 after 1 week, and my performance CPU wise has been more or less the same. If we are curious just to see what I had on beta 1, you can see that it was also more or less the same. So this update in terms of CPU performance has been more or less the same for me on my iPhone 6s. As you can see, this was the score on beta 1 when iOS 14 was launched, and this is the score after 1 week of using beta 2. So more or less the same for CPU. However, when it comes to compute or GPU performance, this is the score that I got for GPU after 1 week. As you can see, I have a score of 1974. Now the reason why this is actually so low is that my device shut off by itself. That's when I was experiencing those screen freezes and seizures when I was recording. So I managed to get that on camera, and my device forcefully restarted itself, and after that I ran Geekbench score, and this is the score that I got. It's quite low, and if you compare it to what I had initially when I had iOS 14 beta 2, this is the score that I had, and this is what I had initially when I had beta 1. So it seems like in terms of GPU or graphics performance or 3D image rendering, when it comes to iOS 14 beta 2, it's sort of on a downward slope. You can see that it's been going down slowly, and yeah, for me it hasn't been great, especially when I experience those screen freezes and seizures. So that's something to watch out for if you are to update to iOS 14 beta 2. As always, you should always back up your device before updating, as this is a beta, and I do not recommend that you update this to your main device. Now, in terms of when the next version will be released, as you can see, today is Monday the 20th of July 2020, and this is actually the week that we expect iOS 14 beta 3 to be revealed or released to the developers, and also perhaps iOS 14, the next public beta version. So expect the beta version either this week along with the developer version, that is the 20th to the 24th, or the public beta version could jump perhaps next week. So that's a small estimate according to Apple release cycles. Now we do need to keep in mind that Apple usually releases these beta updates after every 2 weeks, and we saw them during this week here on the 7th and on the 9th. So we are very close to the next iOS beta update, be it developer or public beta. So that's about it for me when it comes to a small follow-up video on iOS 14 beta 2 on my iPhone 6s. If you like this video, please leave a like and hit subscribe down below, and thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, and I will definitely see you in the next video. Peace.